let's dive back into the next topic then. Let's get back into some serious news here.
All right.
Some somewhat serious news.
Sugar CRM users can now utilize, again, Exceed's conversational AI to automate lead qualification. The integration enables marketing and sales teams to tap into Exceed's lead engagement and qualification technology to increase revenue generation from current pipelines. Now, let's define who Exceed is. A leading provider of marketing sales automated AI solutions. Again, and they announced this deal, right? Now, this CX platform integrates. By the way, Sugar CRM is also part of, well, let me see, it integrates with Exceed, also with Salesforce, Oracle, HubSpot. This is a big company. Have you ever heard of, have you worked with Sugar CRM? Are you familiar with the company?
I'm familiar with them, but I've never done kind of sponsorship deals or anything like that.
Yeah, so it says with 80% of new leads never translate into sales, according to statistics published by Invest. Exceed's technology can now lower this percent by engaging all leads autonomously. So has conversational AI actually gotten to the point where it can now have these conversations without you, the salesperson? This is what's interesting. It's how deep does it Exceed, machine learning, deep learning database go? That's the big question I have for this one.
It's a big question I have. And I think if I would have told you this story, you would have gone, I think there's some bullshit going on here, Will, with this post. I think you would have called me out on it. So, they've not... to be fair to them, they've quoted 80% of new leads never translated to sales according to statistics, yada, yada. Exceed's technology can lower this percentage. Now, if it's lowering it by 1%, I don't care. If it's lowering it by 20%, right, now we're talking. So they've been very open-ended about the numbers here. Maybe there's a reason for that. Who knows?
This could be it could also be one of those tick marks in your qualification for a proposal. Let's say you're submitting a proposal and they'll say, hey, you got a CRM, but do you have conversational AI? Check. We now have that. So to your point, it might just be not that special. By the way, for Sugar CRM, if we are wrong, please let us know. thisweekinsales.com. Please address it to Will.
It almost sounds like we're baiting these organizations, like we're picking on them until they give us a reply, because we've had quite a few replies over the past few weeks. I assure everyone who's listening, we're not picking on anyone. But if you're
we
marketing,
pick on everybody. We pick on everybody.
That's a better way to frame it. We pick on everyone. Again, Vivun, VIVUN, raises $35 million to advance what's called pre-sales engineering, their pre-sales engineering platform. So Vivun provides a software as a service platform dubbed Hero that automates the management of pre-sales processes. Victor, are you familiar with this kind of pre-sales engineering, either kind of platform or role that I assume actually exists?
No, the only thing I can assume is that if they're going after, let's say, companies where you've been a B2B manufacturer where they have to spec things out, that maybe it's a collaborative platform. But I've never heard of this, so this is new.
Okay, so
somebody threw $35 million at this company, so might be something there.
So again, this is from venturebeat.com. It continues, while customer relationship management software is widely employed to manage sales processes, applications optimized for pre-sales teams made up of engineers who often have more insights into which deals are more likely to close than other members of the sales team. This is what the software is for. It's for those individuals. Pre-sales engineers tend to have a better idea of which deals are likely to close based on attributes of a product. So I guess they're looking for product and market fit, as opposed to salespeople might be looking for product. Who can I sell this to?
Wait a minute. I'm calling this one out. If your pre-sales engineers tend to have a better idea of which deals are more likely to close than your salespeople, your BDRs, your SDRs, there's something wrong with your process. Either that or I'm not understanding this. How is it that the pre-sales team, unless they're really salespeople, can have a better understanding? I don't get it, Will. I don't get it.
Well, very specifically, they're using the term here, engineer. And this is why I included this, because I thought, it's ripe for discussion, right? They're using very specifically the term engineer as opposed to salesperson, kind of business development or anything like that. So what I assume that they're doing here is they're looking for data that suggests and makes links, as opposed to BDR sits on the phone all day, cold calling, cold emailing to see if they've got the attention of someone. So I assume that's what this is. Maybe it's the step before a BDR at scale. And it's, or, we're going pre-sales, BDR. So the business development reps, SDRs, sales development reps are more effective because they're going after the right accounts. I assume that is what a lot of this about. And I'll just continue to kind of double down on this point. While pre-sales teams have historically been viewed, Victor and I have never heard this term before, so I don't know how historical this is. While pre-sales teams have historically been viewed as an adjunct to salespeople who typically engage the customer first, Darrow, thank you, Darrow, whoever you are, said pre-sales teams often have a deeper understanding of each customer's requirements. Based on that knowledge, they might have a better appreciation for which deals are most likely to close and which they should engage on, essentially. So yeah, I think what they're trying to do here is, whereas I would be what I'd call now a full stack salesperson, I'd find the customer, I would go in and demo a product, I'd sell them the product, I'd support them after the fact with ongoing training. They're trying to split this role out into even more and more steps and more individuals with pre-sales, BDRs, account managers, customer success, which I think is a bit of a weird thing to do.
I think it is. I don't know why. I wouldn't have given her my money. I don't know. Because I'm like, why wouldn't I make that just a pre-step in my sales process within a CRM? You know what I mean? And they just reassign people. But so this line right here, while pre-sales teams have historically been viewed as the adjunct to salespeople who typically engage the customer first, yes, right, to ask them the discovery questions, Daryl says pre-sales teams often have a deeper understanding of each customer's requirement. Well, how? How do they have a better? I'm lost. I feel like this episode of This Week in Sales, I'm just like, I'm 1 degree off center. I'm not getting this. This one I don't get either.
Well, I tell you what. We should. I will do it. We'll reach out to Vivun and we will find out. We'll get a statement from them what a pre-sales engineer is, because if it exists in the way that they're describing it, in the way that I'm assuming it exists, I'm making some assumptions here. It seems like it could be quite an interesting job. Perhaps you go from a sales role and you're sick of dealing with customers on the front end. If you're skilled at identifying key accounts, large enterprise accounts, and things like that, maybe, and you're a fan of data, like I think you and I are, kind of with engineering and science backgrounds, that could be a cool role. So perhaps we'll do a follow-up on this and we'll find out. And if there's any pre-sales engineers listening, please do reach out over at thisweekinsales.com and tell us that we're idiots and we've got it all wrong. Please do that.
Yeah, it may be us, but I'm seeing the horse before the cart before the horse, one of the two. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's one of two. Hey, Will, did you know there's actually a real estate CRM software out there? And I found this article interesting. And again, I'm coming in from left field on this one. I know when you saw the notes, you go, what is he throwing in there now? But I thought this was interesting. The title is The Top Real Estate CRM Software is Out There by Scott Robinson over at Lucina Health. And he says, for the most part, real estate CRM software does not differ from traditional CRM systems: lead generation, lead management, contact management, marketing automation. However, there's a word that's always going to pivot you. However, there are some additional types of data that real estate CRM systems are designed to accommodate: listing management, property tracking, properties as investment. The real estate CRM market is still relatively new, but here are some noteworthy players in the field. Market Leader being one, Follow Up Boss, I don't know about that name, Wise Agent, kind of like that name, Total Brokerage, I think I like that, and then Izact, instead of exact with an Izact. And so my question is, what do you think of these boutique CRMs? Is this a play here?
So I guess when a segment of a marketplace blows up, CRM is now clearly very established, right? It's difficult for the likes of Salesforce, without a ton of plugins and without probably a ton of cost associated with it, to offer probably as direct a pathway via the CRM of Nextbox as some of these companies can. So there will always be smaller niches for these individuals. Now, are they going to blow up and do billions in revenue like what Salesforce, HubSpot, our friends at all these CRM companies do? Maybe not. But I feel like I know the marketplace will do this. It will get so big that you've got one or two market leaders massive players in the industry. Everyone else, they're just buying up and gobbling up everyone else because that's the only way they can grow because the marketplace is so saturated. But there'll always be these smaller companies on the fringes. I guess I can liken it to what we do over at Salesman.org with our training program. There are massive sales training companies, Sandler, Richardson, all these massive brands that I can't compete directly with, but people will come to us because they like me, my style, the training, and same with your training, Victor. They want to learn from Victor Antonio. They don't want to learn from generic person at random large sales training organization. So some of this could be that I know you're familiar with Dave Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave Ramsey has
of course I am.
Sure. Dave Ramsey, massive radio show, massive kind of broadcasting show on YouTube, podcasts elsewhere. Well, now he has his own software apps for numerous different kind of applications, right? And he's competing with some real big boys, but people will choose his apps because they've listened to him. He's helped them get out of debt, or he's given them financial advice, whatever it is over the years. So there's always markets within a large segment for smaller sub-segments when you then get down to the whether you feel kind of an affiliation with a brand, with an individual. I guess it's the same with clothes, right? For every Nike, there's 27,000 smaller brands where you go, oh, that's just cool. I'm just going to buy that T-shirt. I care less about the quality of it, more just for the coolness. So I think these kind of smaller CRM companies are here to stay. But obviously, it's a much tougher battle to be in than to be the kind of in-house dominant CRM organization in a specific industry.
Yeah, I love this. By the way, great explanations and analogies. I love because if you really think about it, you got real estate, you got financial services, let's say contractors, plumbers, HVAC, you got all kinds of boutiques, CRMs that could be developed. And I don't think a company like HubSpot or maybe a Salesforce, maybe could that be part of their marketing strategy? They could have the boutique division. How's that? We'll suggest that to Salesforce and HubSpot. Hey, create a boutique division.
I think that would muddy the message, though. So, like HubSpot going up market now into the enterprise, they've been the CRM for small businesses for years in the meantime. So that's kind of been what they've been great at and they've been focused on. At Salesforce, obviously, they grew on the fact that they're in the cloud. They just revolutionized the CRM industry. I think if you then start having multiple products, and Salesforce have this issue. They've got if I say to you Salesforce CRM, is it Salesforce Cloud? Is it Salesforce this? Is it Salesforce this? They own work.com. They own all these different brands and services. That then your value proposition and your messaging become very muddled. And that's the advantage that these guys have. We create X product for Y customer. If you're this customer, don't care about anyone else. If you're this customer, you're going to get Z benefits. That is a very simple value proposition. It can be shared over a cold email, over a cold call, and it's very difficult to turn that down, or at least turn that conversation down if there's value in it. Versus when you get into the big organizations, if they were to go Salesforce Boutique, Salesforce CRM Estate, Real Estate version 7 for people in just North America, it just becomes more and more difficult to kind of narrow down. And they probably don't care about this marketplace at all anyway. They're rolling in cash, so they just don't care.